At Belfast University after he completed his studies there. Upon his death in 2013, the British newspaper, The Independent, described him as probably the best known poet in the world. Kenneth Branagh, the famous actor and director, was also born in Belfast. His career, which saw him in serious roles as one of the great Shakespearean actors of recent times, also saw him in film roles, such as in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and the 2011 blockbuster Thor. He has been nominated for 5 Academy Awards, 5 Golden Globes, and has won many awards for his work. He was knighted to become Sir Kenneth Branagh in 2012. Jonathan Swift is one of the world's most famous writers. His famous satirical 18th century book, Gulliver's Travels, is probably his most famous work. It has long been said that Cave Hill, the hill lying prominently to the north of Belfast city centre, was his inspiration for Gulliver's Travels. As to him, the hill seemed to look like a sleeping giant overlooking the city. The famous musician Van Morrison was born at 125 Hindford Street here in Belfast. His long and successful career saw him win countless awards, including 6 Grammy Awards and a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Starting off in the 1950s, he first came to attention through songs like Gloria and Brown Eyed Girl, and before the decade was out, the all-time classic album Astral Weeks was recorded in just 3 sessions. He was knighted in 2015, but according to legend, the famous man objected to a blue plaque being placed in his honour on the house where he was born in Hindford Street, even though he no longer lives there, and the current owners welcomed the idea. Straight ahead is Belfast's answer to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Albert Memorial Clock. Designed in 1865 by W.J. Barr as a tribute to Prince Albert, the husband and consort of Queen Victoria. As a result of being built on wooden piles on marshy, reclaimed land around the River Farset, the clock tower leans 1 metre to the right and 1 metre backwards. It would have toppled over altogether, but for renovation work carried out in 2002 at a cost of £2 million. You would think, considering they'd spent that much money on it, they could have at least straightened it. It has 4 clock faces, and all 4 of them tell a different time, yet not one of them tells the right time. The clock is now a listed building. Joining or rejoining us here. Just ahead and on the left is a large ceramic fish called the Salmon of Knowledge by Belfast artist John Kindness. It's there to celebrate the return of salmon to the River Lagan. It is also said that if you kiss the Salmon of Knowledge, you will become more intelligent. That's as believable as the story of the Blind Stone. Also on your left-hand side is the Lagan Weir, completed in 1994 at a cost of £14 million, but it turned out to be money well spent. as it now keeps the river lagging at an artificial high tide. Because the river is now cleaner, salmon were able to be reintroduced to the river in 1994 after an absence of over 200 years and have been returning to breed ever since. Into County Down by way of the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. The Titanic boat tour operates from here, and your city sightseeing ticket can be upgraded to include the tour of the Titanic Quarter by boat. Is our stop for the Odyssey Complex and the Premier Inn Hotel. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. The MV Confiance that has been refurbished and opened as a maritime museum. Ahead on the right are the lagging side ports, mostly built from glass, which is a relatively new concept in building here in Belfast. If you see a building built from glass here, you can be pretty sure it was built after 1998. Prior to that, you wouldn't dare. On the right are the Royal Courts of Justice. Because they contain the High Court, they were a major target during the Troubles. They are protected by a blast wall, 10 foot thick in parts, to protect the building from car bombs. A bomb of choice back then. George's Market. This market was recently voted the best indoor market in the British Isles by the Indoor Markets Association of the British Isles. The market is open on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. If you are leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. John Boyd Dunlop first invented the pneumatic tyre, otherwise known as the inner tube, whilst living in Belfast. In 1888, his son was prescribed cycling as a cure for a heavy cold. Whilst watching his son ride his wooden-wheeled tricycle up and down the bumpy, cobbled Belfast streets, he came up with the idea of fitting it with inflated tubes made from canvas and liquid rubber. He patented his invention using the word pneumatic later the same year. This was the beginnings of the Dunlop brand, now familiar worldwide. Welcome on board if you are joining or rejoining us here. The City Hall, coming up ahead on the right, was built in 1906 to show off to the world how successful industrial Belfast had become. The City Hall is decorated inside with 4 types of Italian marble and is surrounded by statues of men that brought Belfast into its industrial era. There is also a statue of Queen Victoria. The brick used for the building is Portland stone, and the City Hall has recently been restored to its former glory. Free walking tours of the building are available. For more information about tours around the City Hall, call in to the Irish Tour Tickets office, located opposite the Grand Opera House. The back of the City Hall forms the traditional business district of the city and is known as the Linen Quarter, whilst the front of the City Hall faces the many shopping outlets of Belfast. Beside the City Hall are 2 Titanic memorials, which is where locals commemorate the loss of Titanic. This is not to be confused with the Titanic Quarter, where they celebrate not just the birth of Titanic, but the thousands of other ships also built in Belfast. Approaching our stop for the Irish Tour Tickets Tourist Information Centre, the Crown Bar, the Europa Hotel, the Grand Opera House, and the bus and train station. If you are leaving us here, please remember to take your passports and all of your belongings with you. Welcome on board if you are joining or rejoining us here. This area was once the main nightlife area in the city, and it still retains some great venues at the city end of the street. Popular bars include Robinson's and the world-famous Crown Bar. The Crown is owned and managed by the National Trust and is preserved and protected as an important historical site. It has retained the wood panelling and small drinking booths called snugs that give it the authentic Belfast appearance. The ornate tilework on the exterior and the floor mosaics make it a very special Belfast institution. Facing the Crown stands the Europa Hotel. This famous hotel was the only hotel in the city during the Troubles and was bombed 43 times during that period. Very few visitors came to Belfast then, and the bulk of its guests were journalists and visiting politicians. It was constantly rebuilt after each attack and is now recognised as one of the finest hotels in the region. In 2015, the city of Belfast had a population of 280,962, 44% of which were aged 30 or younger. Belfast, to some people, is the capital of Northern Ireland, which has a population of over 1.8 million people. The country is the smallest of the four countries that make up the United Kingdom, containing 2.9% of the UK's total population and 5.7% of the total area. The six counties that make up Northern Ireland are Antrim, Armagh, Down, Fermanagh, Tyrone and Londonderry, although this is also known as Belfast, educated in Glasgow, but is buried in Westminster Abbey. In the early 19th century, this was the outskirts of Belfast. But with the population growing so rapidly, houses were needed fast, and so too were churches. Hundreds of churches were built in the second half of the 19th century. But when the Troubles erupted in 1969, many of these churches were in areas where they would be vandalized or simply fall into disrepair. Since 1998, many churches have been deconsecrated and found other uses. Churches are used as restaurants, interior design studios, and even Belfast's top comedy club used to be a church. Belfast gained city status in 1888, and much of the city is named after the British monarchy. Much of the rest is named after people and places linked to the British Empire. Because as the empire grew, so too did industrial Belfast. But as the empire declined, so too did industrial Belfast. We are approaching our Eglantine Avenue stop for the Malone Lodge Hotel. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. Piece of art comprising of one sphere inside another is called Rise. It was made by Wolfgang Buttress and it cost over £600,000. It symbolises a new beginning for Northern Ireland. Irish community. You will continue to see many wall murals and flags, but they will have very different content to what you will see on the Shankill Road, because the people there see themselves as British. The murals will of course tell the sometimes tragic story of Belfast past. To look at all the murals objectively, they must be viewed as historical, because they represent Belfast's recent history and not the present, where now both traditions have parity of esteem. Nowadays, if you are from Belfast, you can be either Irish or British, with no tradition being more dominant than the other. We are now entering another of the 7 quarters of Belfast, the Titanic Quarter. It's here the Irish language is spoken as a first or second language. This area was named the Gaeltacht in 2002 and was the last of the Belfast quarters named. Right up until the 19th century, the Irish language was the most widely spoken language in Ireland. And it wasn't just spoken by one religion either. However, the Irish famine and its aftermath saw the population of Ireland plunged from just over 8 million down to just over 4 million in less than 60 years. And many of those leaving were Irish speakers. By the start of the 20th century, the use of the Irish language was in free fall decline. We're now approaching our Falls Road stop, which is close to An. Based in an old Presbyterian church, An promotes the Irish language and culture. It contains a cafe and an art gallery, as well as an Irish language book. We are now entering the largest waterfront project in the British Isles, the Titanic Quarter. This area was previously known as Queen's Island and was the hub of the Belfast shipbuilding industry. It is now home to the Titanic experience. Ahead on the left is the SS Nomadic, the last of the White Star Line vessels in existence. The Nomadic was built as a tender for the Titanic. Now fully restored to its 1912 luxury, the Nomadic is open to the public. Coming into view is the incredible Titanic experience. The building that's bringing so many more people to Belfast than ever before. Built at a cost of £97 million, it's been worth it. It's not a museum, it's an experience, and one that most people won't soon forget. Welcome on board if you are joining or rejoining us here. The large red brick building on our left is the original offices of Harland and Wolff. Behind this building, Titanic and Olympic were built side by side. When launched, the Titanic was the largest ship in the world and the heaviest weight man had ever moved. But Olympic was by far the most successful of the 3 Olympic-class ocean liners launched. After 20 years service, Olympic had attained the nickname Old Reliable. Look to the left to see where Titanic was launched on the 31st of May 1911. 100,000 people turned out to watch the event, but it was all over in just 62 seconds. In keeping with the White Star Line's traditional policy, the ship was not formally named or christened with champagne. Many felt this tradition was tempting fate, and maybe it was, as the Titanic was not their only tragedy, nor was it their first, as both the Naronic and Atlantic were also lost well before the Titanic. Ahead on the left is the HMS Caroline, a C-class light cruiser from the First World War, brought to Belfast in 1924. She is the last surviving ship from the Battle of Jutland in 1916. She has been floating on top of the water for most of the time that the Titanic has been underneath the water. She received a £12 million lottery grant to enable the ship to be restored. Some of these old buildings here have been found new uses and highlight just how much Belfast has seen its major industries change over the years. One such example is Titanic Studios to the right. It is used by film companies like Universal Studios and was recently used in the HBO series Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has done a great job in showcasing Northern Ireland's beautiful scenery, as much of the outdoor scenes are filmed on the beautiful North Antrim coast on the route up to the Giant's Causeway. The Tom Hanks-produced movie, The City of Ember, was also filmed at Titanic Studios. Tom Hanks and Bill Murray came here after a star in Europe for a set big enough to build the entire City of Ember set inside. This is our stop for the Titanic experience. My favorite part is the viewers. All of this is going here automatically, and we should arrive here at 5 minutes past the hour and 35 minutes past the hour. The buses only pick up at these gates on this side of the road. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you. We're coming into what's become known as the Golden Mile. It is so named because this area offers the best selection of pubs, clubs and restaurants in Belfast. Some of the pubs have very strange names, but this is all part of the area's charm. There is also a wide selection of cultural cuisine: Indian, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Nepalese, French, Spanish, Turkish, and of course, Irish. Don't leave Belfast without having treated yourself to an Ulster fry-up, sometimes called a heart attack on the plate. Eating out in Belfast is particularly good value if you take advantage of the many early bird menus on offer. This part of Belfast has benefited greatly from the increase in tourism. We shall shortly be approaching our Shaftesbury Square stop, which is located outside Lavery's, Belfast's oldest family-owned bar. Established in 1854, Lavery's offers 4 different floors of entertainment for different music tastes and age groups. It's claimed they pour 1,000 pints of Guinness a day. They also give you the opportunity to pour your own pint and then reward you with a t-shirt that states that you did so. Welcome on board if you're joining us or rejoining us here. Further ahead on the left is Queen's University, Belfast. Opened in 1849 as Queen's College, Belfast. The university offers academic degrees at various levels and has a large number of now famous alumni, including the former President of Ireland, Mary McAleese, Nobel Prize-winning poet Seamus Heaney, and politician Lord Trimble. Actor Liam Neeson also attended Queen's for a short time. Queen's is the largest landowner in Northern Ireland. In 2015, the student population was just under 25,000, with 8,000 of them coming from outside Northern Ireland. It's testament indeed to the success of Northern Ireland's peace process.
This Queen's University.
This is our University Road stop for Queen's University, the Botanic Gardens, and the Ulster Museum. If you're leaving us here, please remember to take your headphones and all of your belongings with you.
Queen's University, Belfast.